All right, welcome to Wednesday. I got this today, 1986 yearbook. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. And it's amazing because you look back to 30 years ago and where things were then and where things are now, and you can scarcely recognize the game, much less the players in it. There was a couple pictures in here that I found interesting. There's Mike Keenan right there. Not Mary Lemieux, obviously, but Mike Keenan. Keenan, a winner at every level of hockey, watches game action from the bench. He was the coach of the Flyers at that point. So that was interesting. And here we are, Wendell Clark. Who will be the winners and the losers? Wendell Clark represents both the Toronto Maple Leafs' hopes for the present and future. The number one overall draft choice is expected to step in and help the Leafs now and for years to come. And he did. Injuries shortened his career. Imagine Butch Goring as coach of the Boston Bruins. Wants discipline from his players. Bruins are hoping for a return to 100-point form from Barry Peterson. Oh, Barry, you were about to be traded to Vancouver, and it's not going to be pretty. And he only had 12 points in 22 games that year because of his injury problems. Ray Bourque, 86 points in 73 games. Rick Middleton, 76 points in 80 games. Ken Linseman, giant rat. It's funny because, I've been thinking a lot about how advanced stats, and advanced stats get thrown in my videos, but what about back then? The advanced stats didn't exist back then, and yet teams were able to figure out how to build a winner. It's part and parcel. Mike Gillis tried doing Moneyball here, and it was a success and a failure. So when I hear about advanced stats, my first thought is, yeah, but there's a lot of factors, like even on TSN now, like they mentioned Yuri Hudler, and of all the players left, he has the most primary assists. And I'm thinking, okay, but I watch games, and sometimes the guy who gets the secondary assist is a key player too. I think there's too much credit being given just for primary assists, and not enough given to guys with secondary, especially if it's a defenseman. Defenseman to winger, winger to center, center scores, defenseman to center, center to winger, winger scores. Doesn't mean the defenseman's pass was any less important than the centers or the wingers. It's no less important in my eyes. So I don't know. I just find it's almost as if it's taking over the game, and in baseball it made more sense because baseball is a pitcher and a batter, and it's 1-on-1. But in a team game like hockey, and it's 5-on-5, you can neutralize the offense of another player by playing really good defense, especially in the playoffs. So how much of what guy A and his stats come from his teammates, his line mates? Does he get... And again, I mean, the one of the things that always kind of gets me too is they'll say, well, this guy had more offensive zone starts than defensive, and this guy had defensive. Well, now you're putting stock into a coach, and there's some really good coaches, and there's some kind of poor coaches who make bad decisions. And if a coach makes a bad decision regularly, and he's got a favorite player to play in tight situations when he probably shouldn't, that player, his advanced stats are going to be that his offensive or defensive zone starts are skewed a certain way where they should be the other way around. And that's for the good and the bad. So, I take it all with a grain of salt. It's sort of like when they talk about, well, this team hits a lot. The team that hits a lot is the team that doesn't have the puck. That's just the truth. If you always have the puck, you don't get hits. You get a hit while you have the puck, it's probably interference. So it's, it's one of those stats you look at. It's like plus minus. Plus minus I take with a grain of salt, unless it is a dramatic difference. Like Jack Johnson's numbers in Columbus have been abysmal, and they were abysmal before that. He is, suspect defensively, and now that his offensive numbers are kind of iffy, you got to think that he's available if somebody wants him on the market. But I would think that his availability has been known for a long time, and there probably aren't very many teams looking into getting him. TSN, of course, today, the whole Matthews thing, and now because Nolan VC is playing for the team, and the VC's father is with the organization as well, they're like, so would Jimmy VC consider moving to the Leafs? Well, maybe. I still think he wants to go to Boston. All the indications seem to be that he wants to go to Boston. He's going to wait till August 15th, and he's going to go with whoever gives him the best opportunity, and I think Boston's leaving a roster spot open for him. I really do. I think they're leaving a roster spot open, and we'll see what happens. So I don't know. It is the almost non-hockey time, but not really. Tkachuk is apparently impressing in Calgary's camp. And I haven't heard anything more about the other camps, but they had an interview with Andrew Shaw talking about how it'll be great to play with Shea Weber. And for people who deny the fact that this trade was a decent one for both teams, I'll listen to Shaw. I'll listen to Andrew Shaw, who played in the same division with Shea Weber, about how effective Shea Weber is. And he makes a good point. Shea Weber is going to be this giant tree that basically stands in front of Carey Price, and you got to go through him to get to the net. And then at the other end of the ice, he's got that booming shot, and everybody has to get out of the way because he is deadly when he unleashes that shot. So, I'll listen to Shaw because Shaw has, Stanley Cup resume. And Chicago players usually do pretty well when they go elsewhere. Brennan Saad did relatively well in Columbus. I would say he's a little bit overpaid, but that's me. I was even looking at Columbus's cap issue right now, which is that they're near the cap, and they probably want to add more pieces, but they can't. And that's sort of what I would worry about with Florida somewhat, although, they've got Hartnell, who apparently they're trying to get rid of, and they've got other players on there that LTIR are going to pull them off at the start of the year. And they took on that Clarkson contract, which could either end up on LTIR or just off in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. It's a tough call right now. The other thing that I find funny is, and I look around the internet, various sources, and every contract that every team signs is a good one. I haven't heard anybody say that there's been a bad contract signed. And here's the problem. There have been bad contracts signed. There have been probably at least half a dozen bad contracts signed since July 1st. And we won't know until probably a year from now which ones are suspect. And it'll probably be another year after that before we know which ones are actually pretty bad deals. Every free agent signing looks good on the surface. They all do. I remember when the Maple Leafs made a trade for Kessel and they traded first-round draft picks. Leafs fans were on board with it for the most part. Like, oh yeah, no, who cares about those draft picks? With full Kessel in our lineup, we're going to get better. And there was reason to believe they were right. And then it didn't happen. It is impossible to project the future, and I think there's a lot of GMs right now that are looking and going, yeah, no, these players are going to be with us for 5 years. And it's like, do you guys know how much can change in 5 years? So, yeah, why not look back 5 years ago? 5 years. 5 measly years. And who's on their way up and who's on their way down. Let's see, Anaheim. Their forwards were Bolesky, gone. Jason Blake, retired. Bodie, gone. Carter, yeah, gone. Chipchura, gone. Getzlaff, still there. Koivu, gone. Lupul, gone. Marchant, gone. Corey Perry's still there. Bobby Ryan, gone. Sexton, still there. Boros, gone. Sexton's gone, too. Defenseman, Sheldon Brookbank, gone. Brett Festerling, gone. Tony Ludman, gone. Lucas Biza, gone. Vishnowski, gone. Wisniewski, gone. Goaltending, Hiller and McElhinney, both gone. This is why when guys sign 5-6 year contracts, I go, do you guys have any idea how much can change in 5 or 6 years? Look, it's the Atlanta Thrashers. A lot can change, and it can change fast. Here's Boston, and Boston won the Stanley Cup in 2011. So this is their Stanley Cup winning lineup for the most part. Bergeron's still there. Campbell's gone. Horton's gone. Krejci's still there. Lucic is gone. Paillet's gone. Recchi's gone. Ryder's gone. Mark Savard's gone. Tyler Sagan's gone. Marco Sturm's gone. Sean Thornton's gone. Blake Wheeler's gone. So 2 forwards. Defenseman. Johnny Boychuk, gone. Zdeno Chara's still there. Andrew Ferentz, gone. Hunwick, gone. Seidenberg, gone. Stewart, gone. That's 3 players. In net, Tuukka Rask and Tim Thomas. 4 players on the roster now that were there 5 years ago. So this is why I say, when I see all these 5, 6, and 7 year deals, GMs are idiots. They don't learn their lesson. And they're not learning their lesson now either. You're going to go through a large roster turnover. Okay, who won the Cup in 2010? Was Chicago. Oh, we all know Chicago's had major roster turnover. Just for giggles, let's go take a look at Vancouver. Or we can look at Toronto. Let's look at Toronto. Colby Armstrong, he's a broadcaster. Tyler Bozak's still there. Mike Brown, gone. Luka Caputi, gone. Michael Grabowski, gone. Christian Hansen, gone. Phil Kessel, gone. Nikolai Kulemin, gone. John Mitchell's gone. Colton Orr's gone. Christopher Steeg's gone. Frederick Schustem's gone. On defense, Francois Boschman's gone. Carl Gunnarsson, ditto. Thomas Caberly, yep. Michael Komisarek, yep. Brett Lebda, yep, he's gone. Dion Phaneuf, history. Luke Schenn history. And in goal, they had John Sebastian Jaguar and Jonas Gustafsson. So we've got what, two players? Bozak it? Is Bozak the longest serving Maple Leaf? Is this what's happened? Yeah. Yeah. And the first round draft pick that year was Kadri. So I guess if I give you that, then that's 2. We'll take a look at Vancouver. Burrows, Tanner Glass is gone. Yannick Hansen's still there. Ryan Kessler's gone. Manny Malhotra's gone. Victor Oreskovich, yeah, he's gone. I never felt like Oreskovich got a decent shot with Vancouver, and I liked his game, but he just didn't stay. Mason Raymond's gone. Rick Rippon, R.A.P. Michael Samuelson, long gone. Daniel Sedin, Henrik Sedin. So that's 4 forwards. Jeff Tambellini, gone. So 4 people so far. On the blue line, Keith Ballard, nope. Kevin Bieksa, nope. Alex Edler. Christian Ehrhoff, nope. Dan Hamhuis, gone. Shane O'Brien, nope. Sammy Salo, nope. In net, Roberto Luongo and Corey Schneider. 5. 5 Canucks. And there's talk about how stale the core is in Vancouver. You got 5 players left from 5 years ago. And I mean, I could go through almost any team in the league. This is the thing. GMs these days, it's just, well, what did you do last year? Okay, we'll pay you based on last year. And it didn't used to work that way. It used to be, okay, you played well last year, but the year before, it was iffy, so we're going to pay you. And this was usually the deal with guys who were 23, 24, 25. We're giving you your bridge contract. And you get your big contract when you get 27, 28. That's when you make your big money. And that was a fair system. And then somewhere along the way, teams went, we want to get the free agents younger. I mean, free agency, UFA is now younger. That definitely may have played a part. But somebody decided bridge contracts weren't important. And I remember Brian Burke made a big stink about it when bridge contracts died. And it was, you go from your entry-level contract to $5-6 million a year. And it was insane. And he said at the time, this is going to inflate costs dramatically. And it's going to throw everything out of whack. And it's going to be almost impossible to stay under the cap. And that's where we are. That's where the NHL is. That's why if you win, you're going to have to sell off a lot of your players because the cap demands they're going to put in are going to be too much. And it's going to be based on career years. And players have career years. I look back to the 80s, and a guy who wore this jersey named Troy Murray. He had 99 points one year. Well, how much money would that be worth right now? And he never got anywhere near it again. He had one great, fantastic year, and he was one of my favorite players. Troy Murray and Bob Murray were two of my favorite players back then. And, you know, career years are career years. And guys get paid for it, and that's their right, and it's the right of a GM to pay that money, but it is my right as a fan to say that's a mistake. It's a mistake to give a guy big money after a career year in a career that may have been either mediocre before then or okay but unspectacular. Because there's no guarantee. Like, and you know, and I've seen the comments, well, as long as they keep getting better. Yeah, and not all players do. Many players don't get better. And we're sort of sweeping that under the carpet until 2 years from now, those same fans that are saying, oh, these are great deals, are going to be saying, oh, he was an idiot. He deserves to get fired for those contracts. I've seen it. I've seen it in Vancouver. I watched as Mike Gillis signed everybody to long-term deals to keep that core together after the Stanley Cup final run. And I saw fans saying, oh, we're going to go again. It's going to happen again. We're going back to the final. We're keeping everybody. This is great. And then it fell apart. And then it was, oh, we've got all these crappy contracts. This sucks. All it takes is one bad year to wipe out a good one. And then you're stuck with that contract for another 4 or 5 years after that. So yeah, it's a tricky thing, this whole salary cap world and managing your team through it. And the good teams, in my eyes, are Tampa, Chicago, these guys here, Pittsburgh to some extent. I mean, Carolina stayed under the cap. Ottawa's got their internal budget. But Anaheim with an internal budget and being able to win their division, that's crazy. Crazy. So anyways, yeah, I hope that I'm wrong, but I can guarantee you that there will be multiple contracts that have been signed in the last week that teams will come to regret, that will get a GM fired. So yeah, anyways, I have faith in certain teams right now. They're not necessarily my favorite teams, but I've been very impressed with some of the moves they made in the offseason, and we'll see what happens. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll be back with another video later. Yesterday I only did one video because I passed out for 2 hours sitting up watching TV. I passed out sitting up, meaning my body was saying, hey, you're a little overtired. So yeah, I feel a little better rested today, and I should be able to throw out a second video. And I intend to peruse my 1986 yearbook, which came in fantastic condition, ordered through eBay. This cost me $9, including shipping. Originally $3.95 on the cover. So books have gone up in price quite a bit, but it is all black and white. So, you know, they went to color, and that basically doubled the price. But a lot of stats in here, a lot of stuff to go through, and because it's all reading and it's basically walls of text. I'll find some jewels and gems. It's just going to take me a little bit of time, but when I do, I will make sure to, again, it's a matter of looking where the NHL was, where the NHL is, and making a comparison. So, thanks for watching.